currently we have about, I think we had 40 just now. Just some persons just left to come back. All right. Okay, I see some people are having some technical difficulties. All right, so we can get started, and we'll address those as we go along, because I don't want to. I'm very respectful of your time, and we want to just start the ball rolling. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So right off the bat, well, welcome to this particular workshop on Blackboard Collaborate 101. It was really the start of a series that should be an upcoming series at the center, and it's in response, of course, to the high demand for training on this particular platform, and of course that is with respect or regard to the ongoing COVID dispensation and the mandate we currently have on the campus for remote teaching and learning. So, and of course we have a mandate not just for remote teaching and learning, but also to use this particular platform. Yeah. So I think this is a timely session. I also want to thank Dr. Roach for initiating this process, and so on, and some of the other heads of department, Dr. Conrad and so on. So let's start the ball rolling. I think more people are joining, so they'll come along. And so yes, so we are here, and right off the bat, I'm going to ask you a simple question. And anyone who knows some of my sessions, I like to start with a sort of icebreaker, something to kind of, get you thinking. And I know the time, it's because it's evening, so I know it could be a little tiring for some people. So we can't do anything, any physical sort of activity, but I want to start by just taking a quick poll. And it's a yes or no question. Have you ever used Blackboard Collaborate? And you should see a poll at the middle of your screen, in front of your screen. So please feel free to click on any particular response that represents your situation. All right, so far we have 10 persons who still need to vote. And I think the responses are fairly close. All right, it's actually a tie right now, so the more responses we get could break the tie. Oh, this is like elections, boy. Wow. It's like, yes, go ahead. I think someone raised their hand. Okay. All right. So far we have 8 persons to vote still. All right, well, I think I could leave it as that. As it stands, we have, yes, Crystal? Crystal, I think your mic might be off.
Can you, good afternoon, everyone. Can you repeat the question that you just asked, please?
Oh, sure, no problem. It's right in front of you in the pool. Have you ever used Blackboard Collaborate?
No, I haven't.
All right, just click on the poll and it'll give us a more accurate representation. So
sure,
whichever, right. great, great. So I think that was the kind of deciding vote, so to speak. Not everyone voted, but we have here 20 out of 45 or 46 of us in this session thus far, and I see some others are still joining. That's okay. We have 20 persons have used Blackboard already, or now it went to 21, and 18 persons have never used it. Yeah. With those who have used it, can you give just a little idea of what it was like for you? What are some of the hurdles that you encountered? Do you think it was, do you think it is user-friendly? Do you think it's problematic? Not to frighten anybody, but just to give an idea, what do you think of Blackboard Collaborate? What was that experience like for you, in other words? Right, Lisa said it's user-friendly. Anybody else? Okay, great, fun and user-friendly. All right, good. I'm glad to see that. Maybe I could get one more response. Right, most of you who used it before, you said it's user-friendly. All right, great. And so those of you who have never used it, that should give you a sort of mimics the classroom. Yes, definitely. And that's good. It's always, especially where we're in a remote delivery or mode, you try to find ways that it can be as close as possible as to the actual class, even though it's not a physical face-to-face thing. It's as much as possible as close as you can get to that that live or that authentic vibe, for lack of a better word. All right. Breakout groups, yes, definitely, and we'll be looking at breakout groups in a bit. So I'm glad that we have some quite a good mix here with some persons who have explored it and some persons who are still new to it, and that's good. So as we move forward, we have a few objectives that would guide this particular session. All right. Okay, great. And right off the bat, we're going to look at a couple things. And I'm trying. I don't want this to be too long. All right. It's very easy, very user-friendly, as we all highlighted. You're going to look at how to add a virtual or Blackboard Collaborate room to your course in myeLearning. You're going to be able to create a BBC session. You're going to be able to share content in a BBC session. And then we're also going to look at how to engage, different ways in which we can engage students in a Blackboard Collaborate session. And that, of course, will encompass not just breakout rooms, but polls and other things that you can incorporate into a Blackboard session to make it more engaging, and other strategies, teaching strategies, and so on. And then I'm gonna walk you through as well how to access a Blackboard Collaborate recording. Yeah. And so the final objective was really how you can, basically use Blackboard Collaborate to facilitate remote delivery. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you one more question. Because I think it'll help us navigate the way forward. Do you have access to a current myeLearning course? And that will, because what I wanted to do was the way I wanted I tried to design this particular session was that you will go to your courses and create the Blackboard session one time. You know what I mean? So at least that first part of the workshop, not the rest of it, just to create a Blackboard room or whatever, and just walk you through that process. All right, and it'll all be on the screen here. So for those of you who don't have a course, great, that's okay, Christy. I have the slideshow here. and I'm just going to walk you through. So for those of you who, if you have a myeLearning course, or a course in myeLearning, even if it's an old one, for now, you can just log into myeLearning and access that course. All right, because I see it's fairly tight. It's 1717 for persons who have access and persons who don't. All right, and I think we have a couple more persons to vote still. So feel free to respond, and I'll just give a couple seconds for persons who have their courses in myeLearning. Feel free to log in, and you can probably split the screen or just, make sure you can have access. You can see what's going on here, and you can also follow through on your course. Okay. All right. So we're going straight ahead into it. And we all know what Blackboard is. It's a oh, I thought I heard somebody raise their hand. All right, yes, it's a video conferencing platform that is just, yes, go ahead. Hello. Oh, no, okay, that's okay. And thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that, because let me just walk you through for those of you who may not know. On Blackboard, you would see a couple icons at the lower center of your screen. You would see a microphone. All right. When you're speaking, please ensure that microphone is turned on, and you would know it's on when the strike through is no longer present. All right. Next to that, on the right side of that, you're going to see a camera, and that camera, by clicking on it, by default it's off, but by clicking on it, it allows you to share your computer camera, and we're going to see you, right? And we're going to see what you look like. So I'm not sure, it's not required for this particular session. All right, and at the right of that camera icon, you're going to see a little icon with a raised hand. All right, and that icon is, let's say if you would like to make a comment or pose a question, feel free to click on that, and it's almost like a raise hand feature in class. Yeah, kind of like that. So, and I'm using that analogy because we just said that Blackboard is as close as it gets to the authentic classroom. All right, so right off the bat, these are some of the things that we're going to try to look at today in some form or fashion. So we're going to look at creating a virtual room in your course. We're going to create a session. We're going to, I don't need to go through joining a session because you would have gone through that in this particular, for this particular session. We're going to look at uploading files into Blackboard Collaborate, recording sessions, to an extent using the chat. It's not very detailed, but it's basically ways in which you can use the chat. Sharing your screen, using polls and breakout rooms, and then of course walking you through the process of accessing a recording. Yeah, so you're going to see as much as possible how much we can get through. And like I said, some things you kind of have some idea of it already in order to get to this session, so that's good. Now, the first thing you need to do whenever you want to access, if you want to access Blackboard Collaborate, you'll need to access your myeLearning course, because Blackboard is housed, or it's housed login in myeLearning. So if you don't have a course, an active course in myeLearning, then you're not going to be able to access Blackboard Collaborate. And like, well, I shouldn't say likewise with your students. If your students are not registered for the course or have some sort of financial hold, then they are not going to be able to access myeLearning, which means they will not be able to access Blackboard Collaborate. So it's kind of, you know, a situation like that. So you want to make sure that you have access to myeLearning, and that's the first step before even digging your hands into Blackboard, so to speak. Yeah. So yes. So, and that's why I said earlier that you know, if you have a myeLearning course already, then by all means, please feel free to go and log into myeLearning and access that course. All right. So the first thing we're going to look at is setting up a Blackboard room, or virtual room, I like to call it, in your course. All right. And to do that, and I try to map out the process for everyone, and even for those who may not have a course in myeLearning just yet, or have access to that course in myeLearning, you can follow here as well. All right, and I'll also show you the process in the live site. What I will do now, I will go to a course. I'll share my screen and go to a course. So at least for those of you who may not have have a live course, you can see what it looks like. Okay? Is that okay, or would you like me to just stay on the slideshow? Okay, great. So let me just share the screen, and I'll just recap the process for the slideshow. All right. So this is what a course looks like, an empty course shell. So many of you might have a course shell like this right now. If you don't have content in it, it looks kind of bland, right? So the first thing you want to do is create a course, Blackboard activity. So right off the bat, you want to turn editing on, and that's at the top right side, as we see here. The top right side, turn editing on. It's already on in my case, so I'm good. And you will always know editing is turned on because you have these icons here. You have the pencil icon, you have the four-headed arrow icon, you have the edit menu, you have add an activity or resource. So I would recommend, I already have one higher up, so I'll just go lower down, but I would recommend you place your Blackboard activity, because it's, or resource, at the very top of your course, close, let's say almost within that first block. Yeah, that first block, you want to make sure and put that Blackboard activity there, because you don't want students to be navigating and sifting through your course and all this stuff in there before they can find a particular session. Yeah, so always try to place it on the first block, that block that has no topic in it. So you notice topic 1, 2, 3 starts all the way down here, but not on this first block. All right. So I want you to do that. I will, because I have that in my course already, I will just do it on topic 1. So once I once I access myeLearning, all right, I enter my course by just clicking on the course title in myeLearning in your dashboard, and that would take me to my course homepage or my course site. I turn editing on, which is at the top right side, and these icons appear. What I'm going to do thereafter, let's say I'm going in topic 4. In your case, it'll be the top block. Click add an activity or resource. Add an activity or resource. And then you're going to double click on Blackboard Collaborate. And you will always know Blackboard Collaborate from a mile away, because it's that sort of, I'm not sure if there are variations of purple, but I will just say purple for now, because yeah, I can't tell the difference. So if it's a sort of royal or electric purple or anything of that nature, but I'll just say purple for now. So it's now the menu of icons here, they're all in alphabetical order. So you would notice that the Blackboard is B, so it's obviously second on the list, right? So you double click on Blackboard Collaborate, or just the purple icon. It's the only purple icon there. Double click on it, and it will take you to a new page. Now at this point, and it's as simple, guys, as, well, literally that's it, right? So I'll show you how simple it is. So once you're here, I want you to call that session, that activity name, call it virtual sessions. virtual sessions. All right. And then you scroll down and click Save and Return to Course. Save and return to course. And that's it. See how simple it is? It's that user-friendly. All right. So that is the space that your students will go when they need to access, and we'll go into that in just a bit, when they need to access a particular, when they need to access your courses, your live session or your recordings even. Any questions?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
This is Henry. So do you put one link for each lecture, or do you just put that one link there for which you use for all of the
right? Excellent question, and that's a precursor to the next section as we're going into the next section in this particular webinar. This is the first step, right? It's almost like you're creating the room, and then you're going to create, like, let me make an analogy with the physical classroom. It's almost like you created a physical space, a physical classroom, let's say JFK Lecture Hall, Dagger Auditorium, and then you're going to go now and schedule your sessions in advance, all right, or create different rooms, well, not sub-rooms, but sessions that will take place within that virtual room, right? So you created your virtual facility or virtual room. Let's pretend this is Dagger, for example, Dagger Hall or JFK Auditorium, and now you're going to schedule sessions within that auditorium or within this virtual room. All right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thanks.
Great. Any other question, guys? Okay, Charlene is good. Great. Okay, nice. So far, so good. Let me just, so to recap the process, we have here, the first step, of course, is to, once you access your course, from your course site, you want to turn editing on. Yeah? Once you turn editing on, you scroll to the block where you would like to add the activity, and you click Add an Activity or Resource. All right? That's step 2. Now, I'll go on and I'll tell you the number of steps, right? It's just about 7 or 8. The third step, you want a pop-up window will appear as you see here. And this is just what I just illustrated to you in live, but now it's, I'm showing you this, a recap. You're gonna, when you click on Add an Activity or Resource, this particular pop-up window will appear. What I need you to do is double click on Blackboard Collaborate. Right? When you double click on Blackboard Collaborate, it will take you to a page where you can basically set up your room. Yeah? Not the session, but the room, which is why you want to call it virtual sessions, because this is like the cavity that will, or the room that will house all your virtual sessions. It's like a one-stop shop for all the virtual sessions and recordings. So you give it a name. In this case, we call it virtual sessions. And the reason we're saying that is because it's something that you want consistency with. So from course to course, you don't want people naming it different things. And students who might, not be as tech savvy may take a while to find it. Yeah. So you want to make sure you have that is consistent in the naming convention and consistently placed at the top block in your course site. All right. So once you insert a name, you click Save and Return to Course, and that's the Blackboard Collaborate virtual room will be present on your page. All right. So the next thing we're going to look at now would be creating or scheduling sessions, which is kind of what Henry alluded to. All right. So far, so good, guys? Okay, great.
Yes.
So the next thing we're going to go to, so once you're at that point, and I'm going, fairly slowly, just, because I know we have, some of us have not, have never used this platform, so I don't want to kind of speed ahead. All right, great. So far, so good, nice. So I'm just paying attention to the chat. So the next step now, so you have this virtual sessions in your, or in your course. Click on this now. So you're going to open it. Click on it. And that will take you to, I think I was on the wrong on the wrong course here. Let me just go on a different page. All right. And I will share the screen. All right, good. So we see it here, and you click on it, and it takes us to a page that looks something like this. And I wanted to do it with something that is totally new. All right. Yeah. So far so good, right? So when we see when we get to this point, I want you would see a couple things. You would see create session. You would see it in two places. You would see it at the top right side here, and you would also see create session here. Now, before that, and I know I'm jumping the gun a bit, but in the event that, I don't want to forget, to go and access your recordings, you will click on this menu here. So already we see by setting up a virtual session, a virtual room, all right, we see it provides a sort of a repository, not just for the sessions, the forthcoming sessions, but the recording. So when you record a session, guys, it comes right here. All right, and I know I'm jumping ahead. I'll probably come back to it, but at least I wouldn't have to go in detail. All right, so to get this menu, let me just back up a little bit. Click on the three lines you would see right under virtual sessions. These three lines here, it's a very subtle thing, so you might, it's easy to miss, but click on it. And you would see a floating menu appear on the left with your name on the side here, and then you will see sessions, which, we'll create in just a bit, and you'll see recordings. All right, and when you click on recordings, of course, we have no recordings yet, but it'll show you all the recordings that you have. It doesn't matter if it's 30 days, that's just the default, the setting by default, but it will store all your recordings for the semester. Now, I'm saying this now because I don't want to forget this particular point. By the end of the semester, let's say before the following semester, I would recommend that you back up those recordings. You could download them and store them somewhere, such as a YouTube channel, or or even your Google Drive. In the event that you would need to, you want to keep it as some sort of repository as well, a backup to this. All right, because following, let's say after the semester is through, you may not have access to it because the servers could only take so much. And remember, there's a limit. Even though technology makes a couple things more possible, there's still a limit, right? So that's just that. So let's go back to recording. So we're gonna click on the same menu and click on sessions. So technically we kind of halfway did recordings, and I'll get back to it in just a bit. All right, and from here we're going to click create session. Now let me say two things as well. You can easily start or initiate a Blackboard class right here, or a session right here by just clicking on the three dots here. But the reason I want you to create a session and identify each session by topic, for example, is because when you do when the recordings are stored, it's stored according to the title that you give that session. And you don't want to have a repository of recordings with the same names or titles. All right, so that's why, and there are other reasons too, but that's one of the main reasons I recommend creating a session. So you click create session. All right, and this is where you're going to schedule it. So you give it a name. Let's say you can call it, be a little more creative than lecture one. It might be your first module or topic. Let's say course orientation, right? Since you might have that sometime next week or within the next 2 weeks. All right, course orientation. And once you have that, I'm going to go a little further down and I'm going to click guest access. Well, guest access will really be if I need to copy and paste the link manually. All right. It's not mandatory. You don't have to copy the link. I'm just saying, if you have someone, let's say external to my, let's say for example, it's not giving you create session. Okay, what are you saying, Anne-Marie?
No, it's giving it. It's it just, there's nothing. It's a small. It says Blackboard Collaborate in a small black space, and then right underneath it tells you where to jump to, either final debarment, which is on my page already, or econ question papers, which is the other thing.
Right. You created the session just now, or was that the previous one you were referring to?
No, I just I deleted the last session. I created a new session when you started. Same thing as with the last one.
Right, and it's not allowing you to create a session.
No, it's not. It does not look like your page.
No, let me just, as you say that, just stick a pin on that and come back to that. Sometimes, guys, depending on the nature of your device, sometimes you can, I'm going to speaker, a microphone. Hello? All right, great. Sometimes it may not appear side by side like this. It might appear at the bottom of the page, right? So I'm just saying that. I would like to have guest speakers. Can I use? Yes, Charlene. I was referring to that earlier. Yes, you can use this. If you have like a guest speaker, you want somebody from the field. Let's say an accountant, whatever in the field, a social worker out there that you would want to participate in your particular session, right? This is the way that you just copy that link and you send it to them. All right. Now they will be able to join as a student, and then you will have to make them a moderator or presenter. So we'll get into that in just a bit. But with regard to Anne-Marie's situation, so Anne-Marie, you're not seeing create session.
No, I'm not.
What browser are you on?
I downloaded a new Edge browser because I wasn't able to get onto this with my old one, so I downloaded a new one.
Oh, do you have Google Chrome by chance?
Yes, I do.
All right. Could you try accessing the site from your Google Chrome? I'm actually shocked that you're in. So this particular session that you're on, you're using Edge as well.
Yes, because it did not allow me to get through via Chrome. It told me that I needed to download Edge in order to access it.
Right. Okay. Okay. I think someone raised their hand. No? Yes? I just saw a raised hand. Go ahead.
Yes, I raised my hand. I'll hear.
Go ahead.
Anne-Marie, I don't know if you have a similar situation like me, but because my thing is looking different. But if I scroll, if I look within the blacklist that we're talking about, I am seeing somewhere where I can scroll, and when I scroll, I'm seeing all those things hidden. So then you're able to see the guest role and so on, because they are all hidden somewhere there. I don't know if it's a similar setup, but yeah, my screen is different from what I'm seeing in the
right. Yeah, it is sometimes different. Sometimes it might appear like this side by side. Sometimes it's like one on top of the other, like a horizontal display. And it all depends on the update or configuration of your particular machine, and more specifically your browser. Yeah. So that is and look, Anne-Marie, you're getting some suggestions as well in the chat. All right. I was wondering when you told me the issue, Anne-Marie, before the session started, I was wondering if it was something relating to your status in myeLearning, whether it's, you know, in that particular course at least, if it's teacher or not.
It is teacher.
Yeah, yeah, I know
But
that. So
I'm opening. Sorry, Justin, I'm opening it up on Chrome. Let me see if it's any different.
Okay, great. So while you do that, feel free to just let me know, Anne-Marie, right? I'll just move everyone else along very quickly. All right. So guys, you would see, right, we just went through the guest rule part of it. And then if you scroll down just a little bit, you will see where you can schedule it. So I want you to schedule it, you know, let's say anytime within the next 5 minutes. Let's say within the next 2 or 3 minutes. You wouldn't need to enter it per se, but state a time. Let's say, for example, 6:50. All right. Today. So at least you can always enter it and verify certain things. All right. But I only want you to include a start time. You're not going to put an end time. All right. So you put a start time. And you're also going to click on this option, no end session, no end open session. And anybody wants to, you know, explain why it is I'm suggesting that? Lisa? Go ahead. Henry?
Because it's going to be a long night.
Actually, it's not going to be a long night. But okay, no problem, Lisa. The reason you're going to put that, even though you know it's going to be, let's say a session is going to be an hour or 2 hours or, you know, whatever, you want to ensure that the session doesn't cut off on you. You know, very often when we come to the end of a particular session, that's when students kind of have the most, you know, number of questions to ask. Or you might be explaining something and you just need an extra 2 minutes to explain it, or 5 minutes to do so. You don't want the session to cut off on you. So you want to put no end or open session. All right. And that way you can control when the session ends. It doesn't cut off on you. Like, you know, for example, when you use the Zoom free account, you know, after 40 minutes, it just cuts you off. Yeah? No? Right. So it doesn't allow the Blackboard to cut you off abruptly. You can, you know, basically it gives you the opportunity to bring closure to your session. Yeah. It locks and does not allow students to join coming down to the end. Oh, well, no, I'm not aware of it doing that in particular. Yeah. Unless, is that something you became aware of or experienced, or no? Or Anne-Marie, it's still the same. That is particularly strange. Okay, yes, I see. I'm just paying attention to the chat, guys, the time zones. Okay, I understand. Anne-Marie, that's just,
Justin, I believe this happened after Blackboard, after the myeLearning site was down for some work. When it came back up, this is when I started getting this problem, because I had already created my myeLearning page for the new academic year with all my courses, and then everything just, it's not allowing me to do anything anymore.
All right, and this is what you sent. You sent the email to me just before this session, right, about this issue?
Yes, I did. And the
Great.
BBC box is really, really small, just like what Keisha Samlal is saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, if you can, well, obviously I didn't get to see the email before this, just, because the session started, but could you follow that up with a screenshot of what you're seeing? So I could troubleshoot it on my end, and I could liaise with the team at SITS, because, we work together to try and tease out troubleshoot some of these issues. All right, so I'm glad that you brought that up, and I will definitely look into it. All right, so please, 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 if you can, just take a screenshot of what you are seeing on your screen. And if I am unable to do it, to troubleshoot it myself, I will engage a team at SITS as possibly a glitch that came with the upgrade. Now, just to be sure, was it that before the upgrade it was working perfectly, right? You were able to.
It was working perfectly. I was able to do everything.
Okay, great. So I'm very grateful for that feedback. All right. So let me just go on very quickly, guys, and I guess Anne-Marie, sorry you can't follow through, but at least I can illustrate at best, right, for you. Is that okay?
Yes, but I already know all of this. It's just that because I was having that problem, that's why I joined this session to see if I could get it solved.
Right.
Thank you.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Just send me that email with the screenshots, as many as you can, so it gives a better idea of what you're seeing and how we could fix it. Yeah?
Sure. Thank you.
Great. All right, guys. So you set the time and you set no end open session. And I always recommend that you allow students to enter at least an hour before. All right, you and your students to enter at least an hour before, so they can work through any sort of technical issues. Sometimes people might join and be, get bumped off, or may have other issues, technical issues to deal with. Yeah. So you want to make sure that that is taken care of. All right. So once you do that, you can go. We're not finished yet, but go ahead and click create. And we'll continue just a bit. Go ahead and click create. All right. So you see, once you save it, and the reason I'm doing that is, Charlene, once you save it, it will produce the guest role link that you can share for your guest lecturers and so on. Yeah? Great. So we have that, and then the next thing, so once we do that, we want to go to the next tab, which will be this little gear icon, and we click session settings. Session settings. All right, now once we click on session settings, we would see here, it's just basically some settings that you want to make sure you tweak. Whether you want to allow students to download, or even you, to download the recording or the recordings of the session. If you want to, tweak the chat settings, and among other things. But I was showing you this mainly with regard to this particular one, whether you want to allow the recordings or not. Okay? Yes, go ahead.
Hi,
Yes,
Justin. Lisa here. When you allow the record downloads, does that mean the student could download the recordings themselves?
Yes, it allows them to download it as well.
Oh,
so what do I recommend?
So that's a better thing to do then.
Yeah, now the thing is, you could allow them to, I normally don't have a problem with them downloading it, to be quite honest. If it is something, because some students may not always be able to come to your site and download. Some students may want to download it and then subsequently just listen to it like a sort of episodic kind of thing. And that works for them. But if it's something that you are not comfortable with, then you don't have to let students download it. They will just be forced to come onto myeLearning and Blackboard and view the recording.
Yeah, but if you do it that way, then they could share it anywhere then.
In terms of what? You mean if they download it?
If they download it, they can share it to somebody else who's like not on the course or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So if it is you're not comfortable with them downloading it, then you can. That's why I wanted to show you this, that you don't have to allow them to download it. You can. It just means that they will have to come to myeLearning specifically and Blackboard Collaborate in myeLearning to view the recording. So
Okay.
I don't want to say you must do it one way. I like to give that flexibility with those kinds of things. But I'm stating the pros and cons of both, as you notice, right? So if it is that you allow them to download it, then there's a convenience where they can, download it on their whatever devices and look at it subsequently, even when they don't have internet. When they don't get the permission to download it, then they have to first of all have internet, then go on myeLearning, then go in Blackboard, then view the recording right there within the course site.
Okay. Thanks, Justin.
No problem at all. All right. Charlene, does that answer your question? Yeah? Okay, I think so. I hope so. Okay, good. All right, good. So the rest can stay as is. Generally, by default, these are the main settings that are left enabled. That you can allow, for sharing of audio, video. Of course, I think that's necessary, audio especially. So let's say if you have certain questions that students want to pose, they can do so using the microphone. They can use the chat. They can draw on the whiteboard and so on. And that's if it's not something that you like particularly, you can leave it off. Generally, I don't find it to be a problem. Now, the thing with this part is that you could tweak these settings even in advance. Yeah? You could set it in advance now, and even when the session has begun. And let's say during the session you realize students it's becoming distracting because students are only drawing on the whiteboard or on the file, on the slideshow and so on. Then you can disallow it in the session. All right. So I just wanted to show you. Hello? 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 Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, great. I think I just got bumped off my previous machine. And this brings us to another thing that I was telling a class earlier. Yes, you can definitely, Charlene, sorry. So guys, let me just come back in the room. So one of the things that, and I'm getting to that question in just a bit, one of the things that I'm recommending here is that you always ensure. Hello? All right. So I just had a little bit of a technical difficulty there. And I was saying that whenever you are doing an online session such as this, Lisa is laughing. Whenever you're doing an online session such as this, you want to make sure that you can log in or join the session from 2 different platforms, or 2 different devices, I should say. All right, and it doesn't have to be two whole, computers and whatnot, but it can be as simple as you use a laptop or your desktop, anyone, and then you use your phone. Yeah, you could log on through your phone, and that way, if you encounter any yes, I know, Lisa, and that way, if you encounter any problems, it kind of mitigates against that. All right. So I'm just recommending that. And in a case like what happened just now, I had a backup. So in the event that I got bumped off, because my machine tends to conk out sometimes. All right. So let's go back. Yes, Henry?
Can you have two devices on at the same time, like a tablet and a laptop?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have two devices on at the same time, but
and you could like write on the tablet, on the whiteboard, and then switch back to a slide and so on in the same.
Well,
like, right.
I'm not sure if you'll want to do much activity from the other platform, from the other device, but you have one main device, right? Have one main device, and then after that, you just one sec. Let me just come back to this particular course. Yes, you have one main device, and that device, one sec. Okay, are you seeing the screen? Good, perfect. All right, yes, so you have one device, and then that device, you're using one main device to enable your particular session. So you're going to talk and everything through that session, and then the other session, the other device is just in the event that it kind of comes off like what happened just now. Yeah, does that answer your question, Henry?
Not really. What I have in mind is using a combination of PowerPoint and a whiteboard.
A PowerPoint and a whiteboard.
Like for a quantitative subject where you want to work an example on a whiteboard in the class, and you have slides showing at the same time.
Well, the thing is with that, Henry, with Blackboard, it wouldn't allow for multiple, but it wouldn't allow for multiple media to be shown at the same time.
No, I mean going back and forth in real time.
Oh. Yes, but it'll take some, you have to be very, you have to plan it out very carefully. Yeah?
Oh, all right.
So for example, I'm on two devices now, and I'm sharing my screen on one, and I could easily navigate back to the PowerPoint on the other. Yeah? But in terms of, it's something that would take some planning. Yeah? If it is that you're going back and forth quite often. What I will recommend in a case like that, you can also have work with a colleague as well to provide some assistance. So if it's your first or second time doing a session like this, it helps if you have a colleague who can provide support along the way, whether it is as simple as paying attention to the chat, yeah, or yes, definitely, Lisa. Or so while you are focusing on the PowerPoint, for example, persons can, your colleague can focus on the chat, focus on polls, focus on setting up the breakout rooms in advance, and so it's a smooth transition through different segments or activities in your particular session. Yeah. So I would recommend that as opposed to trying to do it all via two devices. Yeah. Okay, great. So let me go back to, so once you've set everything in for your session, you can go ahead, no problem, Henry, you can go ahead and click save. All right. Right, you click save, and you would see your session. It should look something like this. Let's have just close that off, and it looks something like this. Correct? Yeah. So when you see now, you would notice two things. Normally, when it's a session that has yet to occur, let's say you pre-schedule your session it's supposed to start next week, right? And you create it from now, it will be grayed out. So the student might log in and see it there, and might even know in advance, okay, well, we have a session next week Thursday, but they wouldn't be able to join that room. It'll be grayed out. So you'll see it, but you can't do anything with it. You can't join that session, right? So this is why I always recommend that you pre-schedule your sessions. Just take a couple minutes and just, create your sessions in Blackboard ahead of time. So that way, you wouldn't have to, necessarily provide a document with the schedules of your synchronous sessions. All right. I think Charlene, someone was asking. I think it was Charlene. Yes, right. So you can record ahead of time. Yes, I've assisted some lecturers along the way where they if they had let's say for example they weren't in the that was during the previous dispensation where classes were mainly face to face, and if they were unable to if they weren't in the country at the time, instead of having to postpone a class and then go through the trouble of rescheduling and booking a room and so on, what they did is just pre-recorded their session. So let's say the week before they left, they pre-recorded their session and then made it available to students thereafter. Yeah. Good question, Henry. You have 3 lecturers, and 4 tutors. I'm not sure. Well, the lecturers could probably, I think you can have 1 room for the plenaries or the lectures, and you can probably have 4 tutorial rooms. Yeah, you can have 4 tutorial, or depending on how you schedule them as well, you can have 1 tutorial room and then the 4 tutors make use of the rooms accordingly. There shouldn't be, I doubt you're gonna have tutorials all at the same time. If they're all at the same time, then you might need to create separate rooms. But if it's different, they're all at different times, I would recommend separate rooms. I'm sorry, the same room. Does that answer your question? Okay, great, no problem. I thought that was another language you were using there, but okay, yes. So, so yes. So in your case, Henry, 1 lecture room is sufficient. No problem, no problem. 1 lecture room is sufficient, and the tutorials, if there are different times, you can have 1 tutorial room, right? And they just share the tutorial room accordingly. So hopefully that helps. If it's all at the same time and you need to identify which group is going into which tutorial room, then by all means you can create different tutorial rooms. Okay, now you don't have to do this part here, guys, but I'm just showing you where to go when you need to access your room. So let's say your session is about to start or has started and you want to enter the room. You're not going to click on this part. You're not going to, because it's going to open up the settings, right? You don't want that. You would see 3, like it's very faded kind of way. On the right side, you will see a circle with 3, like an ellipsis in it. You click on that, and you're going to see the menu drop down, Join Session. If you would like to join the session at that point, then you click Join Session. You don't have to do it now, but you click Join Session. All right, and that's how you access now what we did there were 2 things. We created a session, and and I showed you how to access a session. All right, do you need me to go over that process in terms of creating a session again? Okay, so I can just recap it via the PowerPoint, so we all know, we're all on the same page. So we went into scheduling a session, and the first step, we clicked on the BBC room that we just created. All right, then we click on create session. And then from there, we gave the session a title on the right side, the graphic on the right side. We created a session. And then on the left side, we see we inserted some other details, whether it's the time and date, whether it's an open, well, I suggested leaving it as an open session. And of course, the recording, the downloading of recordings and so on. I mean, that's your prerogative, but I was just stating the pros and cons with that. And so it'll guide you in making the right decision for your particular course context. And of course, we basically created that entire session. And then we saw when we created that session, how it is added in your list of sessions in Blackboard. All right. Then we looked at joining a session. So this is just me recapping what we did so far, and you see how quickly we're moving along. To do that, of course, I just highlighted that you somebody wrote on the that's all right. All right. You click on the icon on the left, on the right side, the ellipsis icon, as we see here, and then you click join session. All right. And then the BBC room will open. Now, yes, thank you so much for highlighting that. You could go ahead and as we're doing this now, and I'm just jumping the gun again, the whiteboard or the annotation feature in Blackboard is one way in which you can engage students, and that's something we'll get into. Well, engagement is later down in this session, but allowing students to make annotations on your, whether it's a slideshow, a document, and that sort of thing. It also fosters engagement. All right. So let's say if I had a different graphic, let's say I wanted to highlight a process. I wanted students to identify a process. Then I can easily allow them to make annotations on the slide and label a particular diagram, for example. In fact, let's do that. So if I were to go to this slide, and this is what, of course, we know what this slide is, right? In terms of accessing and when you enter the Blackboard room. What I want you to do is place your name anywhere on this particular slide, and I'm changing it up a little bit. So all you have to do is click on, right, somebody's doing it already. You can click on the T at the top of your screen on the left side. And that way you can include text instead of the pencil. And then you're going to select a color. And then you're going to select, and then you're going to click on anywhere on the board and just start typing. All right. So that's one way. So this is just like if you need them to label, let me take it back a little bit. So this is if you need them to label a particular diagram you might have. Let's say it's a course on, or a module or a session on social stratification. All right. Then you might have a sort of diagram to highlight, you know, the stratification, the structure, societal structures, and then they label it accordingly. All right. But then you can also get them, instead of typing things, you can get them to identify certain things. So they can include shapes. Now the shapes will be very limited. All right. And let's say I wanted to include a shape around a particular thing. Then I simply click on this on the shapes icon, which is next to the pencil. So let me clear the board. I'll clear it. And I want you now to so place a circle or square or rectangle around the center, around the welcome, the word welcome. There we go, right? So we can see how this can, let's say if you had a document, a case study, making another example, there might be some things you would like to hide along the way, all right? and I just cleared it again. So, so it's a good way to engage. Now, it's not the most accurate. Let's say, we know other platforms such as Zoom and so on might be a little more flexible, but this is as much as you might be able to get on Blackboard. Now, and as we were on the icons on the top, so we looked at the text icon, we looked at the shape icon. The pencil icon is something, let's say if you want to draw an arrow to highlight a particular thing, all right, the pencil is something I might use to draw, just a quick arrow to highlight this. And I like how we're listening. So somebody's drawing, we're all drawing arrows. Right? That's a good question, Roderick. Unfortunately, no. No, because the colors are limited in Blackboard Collaborate. So you're not, unless you call students to do certain things by name, yeah? Or you might give them, a particular, you have to give specific instructions. I know. Right? So you might, let's say for example, you might assign a particular, and this is just going more than just within Blackboard, but and teaching practices that would enhance your use of Blackboard. So in addition to what we just discussed in terms of annotations and drawings and text and so on and slides or on the whiteboard, anyone or any document for that matter, you might want to assign a particular topic, for example, or a particular graphic that groups of students should have prepared ahead of time. They should have read on a particular topic that they would present or be prepared to explain a particular diagram or process. And then you might have the diagram or an illustration of the process on your slide, and then the student has to not just explain it, but highlight salient elements on that graphic or on that process, on that illustration. Yeah? Now, let's say it was becoming, I'm not saying this is it, but oh, thank you, someone actually did it, the shape around the computer, the welcome, good. Let's say you found that students were, it was becoming a distraction and everybody was just drawing on the whiteboard and or on the slide or the PDF or the case study or what have you, and you found that it was becoming too distracting. You could easily disallow that. So, and I will show you, well, let me show you now since we're here, all right? To do that, you would first need to make your, I suspect I know the answer to this question. I'm just reading in chat, is there any way possible for someone to access BBC without having access to myeLearning? Yes, that's if they have the link. So let's say you gave them the link. That would be the only way really, because the student wouldn't really be able to share the link to Blackboard just like that, yeah? And I didn't realize I made Keisha the link, the moderator. All right, so let's just do this here and make, okay, so let's say if I were to make Indira, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna make you a moderator in this session. All right. So what I need you to do is, and the rest of everybody, could you just draw on the right on the screen on the slide, if you don't mind. Right. So Indira, you could follow my instructions now, right? I need you to, when you click on that purple, oh wow. In one section, Theodora, what I need you to do, Indira, is just click on the purple icon on the lower right side, and everyone is going to continue drawing and writing until you find it. No pressure. So, are you seeing it?
Yes.
Right, and you would see the second to last icon, that little gear icon. Are you seeing that?
The one with the arrow?
Next to it, on the right side of it.
A star, sort of?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right. Click on that and tell us what you're seeing.
Audio and video settings.
Right. What else?
Set up your camera and microphone.
Right. What else?
Use your phone for audio. Long distance charges may apply. Speaker
Right.
volume.
Well, right. The next heading. The next heading is what?
Notification settings, session settings.
Right. Good. So click on session settings. And what do you see now?
Report an issue.
No. Other session settings before that. Because remember, everybody's writing on the board, so they try. We're trying to create a scenario where they are overdoing it on the whiteboard, and I think they're having fun with that. So I want you to disallow people from drawing on the whiteboard.
Right. So participants permission, share audio,
Right.
share
Right.
post chat,
Right.
etc. Draw on whiteboard and files.
Right. And you want to disallow them. So click on that checkbox. Make sure it's not highlighted anymore.
They want to draw on whiteboard and files.
Yes.
Okay, I just did that.
Right. I saw it. Good. And so now, what are you guys seeing? Is anyone able to draw on the whiteboard on the slide? The option just left, right? Right. Keisha just made me laugh because it's a sad face. Sorry. Weird. Right. So this is one way of doing it. So good. So thank you so much for that, Indira. So I'm gonna enable someone else now to give them a chance.
Before you
go ahead.
Yeah, I found, well, the post chat messages I think will be useful because I had the situation where while I was lecturing, the students were just cross-chatting, disrupting the lecture and cross-chatting. Right. So I think it's a good idea to be able to disallow them at certain times from posting chats.
Right. What you can do in a case like, let me just make sure I understand. Is it that the student was posting chats to the entire class?
Yeah, they were posting chats so that everybody could see while the lecture was going on.
Right. Definitely. In a case like that, you can do, if you find it distracting, then yes. Or, well, another extreme case would be to remove the person from the room. And that would be another extreme case if you wanted to go that far, right? And just let them view the recording, or you could just call them out on it. And nothing's wrong with that. It's just part of your classroom management. Because let's face it, you want this to almost simulate what you would do in the real world, not so? In the face-to-face classroom. So if a student is disruptive in your face-to-face physical session, then you would find a way to reprimand them, and you, of course, not give them licks, as we say here, but you just address it. So and likewise in this platform, you feel you could address it directly, right? And yes, definitely, Roderick, I think that's also tantamount in this case, where you set the climate, and when I say the climate, the environment that you want to set. You want to make sure, you want to create that you minimize distractions or distracting behaviors. Not to embarrass them. So you're not buffing them, right? Because then that's a definite no-no. But you make a very generic comment. So for example, let's say in this case, let's say I know I asked everybody to write on the board, but I might say, okay, so let's just be, I just need you to pay attention for a while, and we can stop writing on the board for a while, and I need you to listen to what I'm saying, and etc. So you do it in a diplomatic way, right? So, but with regard to that, Indira, I could understand why you would disallow the chat, and I think that is within good reason. All right. So let me give someone else. Krishna, are you there?
Yes.
Right. So Krishna, I'm going to make you a moderator.
I wish you wouldn't. Okay.
Are you comfortable with it, or you don't want it?
I think I don't have that level
Okay.
of competences at this time. Yes?
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll choose someone else, but I'll explain what they're
Sure.
gonna do, right?
Sure.
All right. Let me select Keisha.
Okay.
I'll make you a moderator.
Yep.
And Keisha, you should see on your menu on the lower right side,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to click on the, are you seeing that sort of gear icon?
Yes.
Right, so click on that. And what are you seeing?
There's audio and video settings,
All right, and the next heading.
notification settings,
The next one.
and there is session settings.
Right. So right off the bat, guys, to bring it all together, when you want to tweak these settings during a particular session, you see what we did just now when we were creating the session, where we would disallow them from downloading recordings or enable them to use audio and so on. We can do it during the session as well. And to do that, you click on that menu at the lower right side, and you click on the gear icon, which is traditionally the settings icon. That is going to open up a menu where you would see audio and video settings, notification settings, and session settings. You want to go to the session settings. So go ahead, Keisha.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you seeing? Tell us what you're seeing.
There is one for only show moderator profile pictures, and then there is the participant permissions. So there's share audio, share video, post chat messages, and draw on whiteboard and files.
Right. So you want to enable the drawing of on whiteboard and files.
All right, so it's enabled on.
Good. Right, I see it. And oh, by the way, that's the next thing, guys. If you have more than one moderator in a group, let's say you and your colleague, it makes it very easy to see what is going on. So even as Indira took off the ability to draw on the whiteboard and so on, I was able to see exactly when she clicked it, when she took it off. And just now when Keisha enabled it, I was able to see it as well. So it's very much a synchronous platform, right? And look, you're able to draw on the board again. I think you guys are enjoying this too much. All right. Any questions so far?
Justin, I have one question.
Sure.
It's Indira. The moderator. So if, for example, you now want to put on your tutor as the moderator, how do you change the moderator?
I like that question, Indira. Very good question. So what we'll do now, I'm gonna walk you through, not show you, but I'll walk you through and you could tell us what you're seeing, okay? So the first thing you need to do, because I made you a moderator along with Keisha. So you would see in that same lower right side menu, floating menu, you would see next to the chat icon, you would see that icon with 2 people, and you see like 46 underneath. Are you seeing it?
The participants.
Yeah, click on participants. And you will see everybody who's there in the course. Now, to make someone, and now guys, while I'm explaining this, picture when you want your student to be a presenter or a moderator in your course. If they have, a presentation to do, this is what you'll do. So I want you, Indira, click on Lisa's name, or just hover over Lisa's name, and you're gonna go to that sort of on the extreme right side of her name, with that circle and the ellipsis in it, the 3 dots. You'll see attendee controls.
Click on Lisa's name.
Yeah, you'd have to click on it. Right. Okay. I think I saw, no.
Nothing's happening.
Yeah, I'm not, Lisa, where are you?
Lisa McDonald, right? So that's the name.
Yeah.
Of
So you're not gonna click on it. You'd have to, I think it's changing because, okay, let me just find Lisa. Right, so I want you to go to the extreme right side of it, and you're gonna see attendee controls. Click on attendee controls. That's the little circle at the end of her thing there. And what are you seeing?
attendee at the end of 46 attendees?
No, at the end of Lisa's name.
I'm not seeing any dots, 3 dots or anything.
You're not seeing, okay, so you would see Lisa's name, and a little way off from her name, you would see like a bar, a sort of 2 icons on the right side of her name. Not immediately on the right, but a little way off. Are you seeing that?
No, I'm just seeing the time, 6:17 p.m.
Oh, how are you? Do you see any time? Okay, and you're a moderator. Let me just verify. Keisha, are you seeing that?
Yes, I'm seeing that.
Right, are you seeing the dots next to her name?
Yeah, I have that.
All right, so click on the dots and I'll come back to you just now, Indira. And what are you seeing, Keisha?
Send a chat message, make moderator, make presenter, make captioner, or remove from session.
Right, so let me just explain those settings. So Indira, what we were saying just now, where let's say the person was being highly disruptive, you mightn't even have to say anything, but you might just remove them from the session, right? Because you, like Charlene said, you don't want to embarrass them, but you need some sort of to control the class, to manage the class. If you need them to make a presentation, like to upload a document or to, you know, a little more privileges you might want to give them, then you would make them the presenter. If you would like to make them the moderator, as a let's say your colleague is with you, and they are or guest lecturer, you might have in your session, and you want to make them, give them that elevated access, then you make them the moderator. So Keisha, I want you to make Lisa a moderator, please.
Okay.
Right, and I can see Lisa is now a moderator. All right, Lisa, are you there?
Yes.
Great. Lisa, can you make, I see Harold is here, and Harold knows I like to pick on him sometimes, right? Could you make Harold or any person of your choice moderator as well?
Sure.
And you can let us know who you're making the moderator so we all follow.
I made Harold the moderator.
Good Lord.
Good. And good. So Harold is a moderator as well.
Right.
All right. Harold?
Yes.
I want you to make, let me see, anyone, I'll give you that choice, to make someone else the moderator. Now to do that,
Yes.
you saw the person you would like to make the moderator?
Let's see. Yep.
I hope it's not somebody you don't like, eh? Right. So at the right side of that person's name,
Yes.
you're gonna see like 3 dots a little way off.
Yes.
Right. And when you click on those dots, what are you seeing?
Chat message, make moderator, presenter.
Go ahead and click make moderator. Good.
Okay. Yes.
Mr. Pawati.
Very good. Let's do one more. Okay.
Justine, I just wanted to say something in one statement. I was having the same problem Anne-Marie was having, and I was kind of not following so much through the session because I was sweating over this not being able to. But I was able to minimize my page, and it worked. Well, I hope it did, because I'm now seeing everything. So I don't know if she wants to try that. Try and control and minimize. I do it so quickly that I forget what I do. So probably she can try that to see if that will work and open up the box.
Definitely.
I will.
Yeah, try that. Yeah?
And I'll still report the issue because I mean, if it's not just one person, but clearly.
Yeah, I had the problem and I was a little stressed over it because last day I used Blackboard and it was fine.
Right, and you had your session like prior to the update. It was good.
No, yeah, before yes, but I was using a different laptop, so I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just making a note of that, not working for persons who after update, right? So I'll just, because these things tend to happen with an upgrade. Sometimes, you know, things get a little glitchy, and this is why we kind of take some time to test. So so I'll include it in the report on before the end of the week, right? All right, so Christine,
Yes.
can you make, let's say Harold was being disruptive. They're not going to remove him from the session, eh? I want you to make Harold, let me see, participant. So to do
Okay,
that,
I see. Yeah.
right, and what you clicked on the 3 dots next to his name?
Yeah, and make participant.
Right, go ahead. Good. And you would notice that Harold is moved from the list of moderators, right? So it's easy to think. And
Very realistic.
and Harold, you would have gotten a little pop-up that you were now made a participant, I believe, right?
That's right, yeah.
Right. Let's do one more just to bring it on home. Lisa or Indira. Let's go back to Indira. Indira, are you there? Indira?
I'm here. I figured out how to do it, Justin.
Okay, great. So now I want you to do it for Henry. Can you make Henry a moderator, please?
Sure. Henry Bailey?
Yes.
Just did.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah,
Are you breaking up a bit? You made him a moderator?
yes, I hear me. I just did.
Okay, yes, I'm seeing him.
Yes.
Yes. Now, this is a good example here. So Indira, I could tell that you have technical issues because I could see when your internet connection, for example, because I could see it in the analytics on Blackboard, and this is something that you would, you know, I'm going to make a couple people moderators as well, right? So Bishnu, I'm making you a moderator. Let me see. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, Anne-Marie, no problem. We look into it, all right? I'm gonna make Felicia moderator. Right. If I share the screen, it's gonna look like a screen share in a screen share, and you're gonna see like multiple things popping up. So that's why I was making other persons moderators to see what it looks like. So I'm gonna make, yeah, and I don't want to confuse you with that because it will skew the whole presentation. So I'm gonna make a couple persons moderators. All right, Althea. So Althea, I'll make you a moderator as well. Charlene. Good question, Lisa. So a moderator has, let's say, the most privileges in a Blackboard session. So the moderator can do anything. The moderator can tweak the session, can tweak the settings. The moderator can remove persons from a session. The moderator can switch roles. The moderator can, you know, all these things. The presenter, however, is no problem, Crystal. The presenter, however, might be someone you don't want to give as many privileges to. So for example, the presenter might be a student. Let's say the student has to present something to the class. The student can navigate, can upload might be able to upload a document, or at least control the flow of the PowerPoint or document from that is being displayed to the rest of the class. But the student, that participant, cannot remove other persons from the session. Yeah, that participant cannot upload documents. Yeah, but the participant can navigate through the presentation. That's an example. Does that answer your question? Okay, great, no problem. So we have a couple persons who are moderators, and I want you now, guys, to Richard, and you would know you're a moderator because you would see a message, a little pop-up thing at the top of your screen, right? So I want you now, so Althea, I want you to make Bishnu a participant. Charlene, I want you to make Althea a participant. So
how do I go?
Right, so to do that,
Oh.
you click, sorry?
No, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, you click on the, just now, Althea, I'm seeing you. Oh, I think Charlene already made you a participant, so that's why I didn't see it, sorry. All right, Bishnu, I need you to make Henry. Yes, so that's why I'm bringing back equilibrium. So yes, Bishnu, I need you to make, or let's say Lisa, can you make Bishnu a participant? Keisha, can you make Richard a participant? Janelle, can you make Henry a participant? Right, so far so good. Althea, say you're a moderator again. Althea, can you make?
I made her the moderator.
Oh, there we go. Right, and so that's the process, guys. So I think you kind of get the idea of it, yeah? So it's that easy. Now this helps when you're trying to engage your students on that level. So you can give them those moderator, or I would recommend more so a presenter's privilege to, let's say they have online presentations, because remember things are being done remotely and you might have tutorial presentations and that sort of thing. So that would come in handy there. But if it's a guest lecturer, I would recommend that you give them a moderator's link or a moderator privilege, sorry. Right? So Charlene, let's say, I know you mentioned having a guest lecturer. You might want to add them as a moderator. Yeah? Great. And that way they can upload let's say that guest lecturer might have a PowerPoint or some other document on their own, you know, in their possession that they would like to share, and they can upload it and do the needful. Yeah? So it's that easy, guys. Any questions on that so far? So great. So we're moving fairly quickly. We covered a couple of things actually more than what is highlighted here. We started engaging sessions and so on. In terms of uploading content, I'm just gonna show you this in this particular PowerPoint here, and because it's a fairly simple process, okay? And I think I'll ask one of the moderators, I'll give you the cue when to, I want one of the moderators or a couple of the moderators to follow this process and see if you can upload a document. Now, the caveat here is that you can only, there's a limit to the kinds of files or the file types that Blackboard recognizes. So for example, PowerPoint is one that is compatible with Blackboard Collaborate. A PDF file, is compatible with Blackboard Collaborate, and an image such as a JPEG or whatnot is also compatible with Blackboard Collaborate. When it comes to Excel spreadsheets and other video MP4s, MP3s, and these different things, those are not videos. Those are not compatible with Blackboard. So if you have a video, you might want to. You could do a couple things. And I'm just stating the options, and I'll guide you with which one might be the most practical. You can share your screen and let the students see the video play, like how you are seeing this PowerPoint here. You can share the screen, and the student will see the video being played on your screen. The other option I prefer, right, or my preference is that you give them a link. Now, that previous option I gave was, let's say if you have the video on a DVD, you know, and you may not be able to share it like that, but if it's something that is like a link, let's say you have it on your Google Drive or a YouTube link, you can post that in the chat, and this is where the chat becomes a tool for engagement, and the students can look at it and then continue the session. Now, Blackboard, before it was upgraded and before this current dispensation where it was so heavily used, they used to have a timer. So you could place a timer, and when you go to your breakout rooms and you go to your polls and you go to even give them time to watch a video, is a sort of stopwatch almost, and it gives a little signal, so okay, the time is up. They don't have that anymore because, of course, it was a decision that had to be made to make Blackboard a little more stable and efficient given the high traffic. So what I recommend you do is that you post the link in the chat so students can watch it on their machines or their devices, and you give them some time to look at it. So if the video is 3 minutes, then you know you're going to give them at least 3 to 4 minutes to look at it, right? And then, of course, you engage them with questions thereafter. Yeah? So those are the two main ways that you want to share videos, and I recommend, if as much as possible, sharing a link in the chat, because it may be a bit cumbersome for you to switch between sharing a screen and a PowerPoint. And, you know, unless you have two moderators who can make it a little more efficient. All right. You would have remembered sometimes when during the emergency remote teaching and these different things, when we had very large sessions, normally it would be Dr. Thurab and Kosi and I, we used to do workshops together, webinars together, because those sessions were very, very large, over 100, sometimes 150, etc. And so while she may have been speaking at one point in time, I would be doing the back end stuff in terms of queuing, loading, you know, activities and so on, the polls and so on, and then vice versa when I was leading. So it's always good to have that tag team, especially the first couple of times you're doing it. All right. So back to this. Sorry, we digress. Sorry. So right. So those are the main file types that Blackboard that are compatible with Blackboard: PowerPoint, PDFs, and JPEGs. Now, I would recommend, even if you have a PowerPoint, I would recommend that you save it as a PDF, because sometimes when you upload it as a PowerPoint, the layout of some of the graphics and so on can get skewed. So I'm giving you this lecture tip as well. You know, knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the platform, so at least you don't see, like, for example, your table, one column is missing or the heading is kind of skewed, because, you know, with a PDF, it's the platform, it doesn't skew anything. With Word, no, you'd have to convert Word to a PDF. So I would recommend, guys, any document that you want to share, whether it's a Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, a PowerPoint, I would recommend that you save it as a PDF, right? That way it's not skewed, the layout of it is not skewed, that way it's, you know, it's compatible with Blackboard Collaborate. So any document that you want to share, even if it's a, you know, and it's easy to save it as a PDF, and I'm gonna identify the process, just call out the process, you click Save As, then you would see a little box pop up normally where you would give the document a name. Just under that, you're going to click on that drop down arrow or menu, and you're going to save it as a PDF. Simple as that. And then you just click Save. Right? Right. When you share the video, I think someone had there. When you share the video when you share the screen for a video, sorry, to play, how can you change the sound of? They change it on their end. Yeah. But if it's a document of some sort of PDF, and the text might be very small, you see that little magnifying glass on the left side? Yeah? On the top left side, that magnifying glass there. If you click on it, it opens the menu to a plus or minus sign. When you click on the plus sign, it magnifies the document, whatever it is, if it's an image, PowerPoint, PDF. So it makes it a little easier to read. Yeah? And of course, if it's too large, then you can do the reverse. All right? So as we go back into sharing files, before I go forward, any questions?
Would there be any issues with sharing music files?
No, it wouldn't allow you to share music files. So beyond those 3 file types, you're not going to get to share other things. If you're going to share them, what I would recommend that you do is share it as a link. So if you have it in your Google Drive or Dropbox or whatnot, then those things can be shared as links. So I would recommend that. Yeah?
Okay, thanks.
Sure, no problem. Henry said, when a session is recorded and saved, will it be kept in the same version? Yes, yes. As I should. Did you see it earlier, Henry? No? Yes, yes. It is going to be shared. All right. In that case, I would just share a link. Yes, I would just share a link. When I go back to sharing the screen, Henry, in just a bit, I'll show you where the recordings are stored. All right. So so when you click on this middle icon, you're gonna see, no problem at all. You're gonna see it's gonna ask you to allow you to search for your file. You're gonna search for your file and then click Add File. Right? Add File. You locate your document. When you locate your document, then you click Open. And now this is one way of doing it, to be quite honest with you guys. Another way might be just to drag the document from whatever folder you have it in into that, where that circle is on the right side. You could do it as that as well, like that as well. Okay? So I tend to use that method because it's a little faster. All right? You can drag it into that little place where the circle is that I highlighted for you, or you can click on Add Files, locate your file, and then click Open. Now you would notice if you expand it in Dura, you would see the 3 file types that this platform is compatible with, right? So it's an image, PowerPoint, or PDF that it recognizes. Yes, you can share. Yes, definitely. If it is a Word document, you can share the screen. If it's, well, you know, if it's any other page or something that you don't want to that you can't share via a link, then you could share your screen. Yes, definitely. Like I said with the video, right? So thank you for that. That's a good question. All right. Now, when you this is what it looks like. You'll see the document sort of processing a little bit, and then when you click share now, it is made available. It opens up. You're going to see the different pages or slides, as you know, depending on the nature of the document. And then when you do that, when you click on the particular slide or page, you would see it looks almost like a Microsoft PowerPoint, right? As you see in this graphic. So you're going to see the slides or the pages, you know, if it's a PDF, you're going to see it on the right column. And the main column, which is what you are seeing here, guys, everyone is seeing this, would be the slide. So you can navigate by clicking on different slides. So let's say, you know, you didn't need to click on all the slides. You didn't need to go chronologically or sequentially through all your slides. You might want to skip a slide because you realize you kind of covered that already, so you don't need to go through it again. All right? Or you can navigate through your PowerPoint by using the icons at the bottom. So I'm going to make more persons moderators. All right. Oh, good. Oh, just now I just missed. Sorry. Good question. I haven't tested those, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, because remember they don't fall into the main three types of whether it's PowerPoint, unless it's like an image, but then that wouldn't really be a page per se. So you know, yeah. So I don't think so. I don't think so. All right. So no problem at all. So I'm making a couple more moderators here, and I want you guys to I would have to send this to you because remember that you're not all in one course, yeah? Because in order to access the recording, you'll need to be in a particular course, yeah? And does that answer your question, Roderick? So because you're all, yeah, exactly. So I saw someone added a file. So go ahead and share that file, please, or any of the moderators. So to do that, you would see when you click on that menu at the lower right side. Oh, good, nice. Right? And you notice how small that font size, the text is, right? Feel free now to expand it or magnify it by clicking on the magnifying glass at the top left side. Anybody, it doesn't have to be a moderator. And you would notice it gets bigger on your end, right? Good, I saw someone added another document. Go ahead and add that, share that file, please. Good, so we see I'm making some more persons moderators, just, you know, so you get that experience. All right. So good, so far so good. So I want you now guys to, let me see, we have some other, okay, good. So I want you to, in fact, I'll do it just to move it quickly. All right. I want you to navigate through the PowerPoint. So someone can click on the slide, good. Okay, all right, sweet. Right, good, good. All right, okay, okay. Right, not too bad, good. So we see what it looks like here, right? Okay, all right, okay, thank you. So we get to, yeah, right. So we're back on this part now. Okay, I think someone, okay, yeah. Thanks so much for that. So I think we can, so we can, all right. So good. So we covered a couple things thus far. We looked at creating a virtual room, creating a session. Don't try to go too far down. We looked at joining a session. We looked at uploading or sharing a file as we did just now. We looked at engaging persons, what you call it, annotations and so on. All right. And now we're going to go very quickly. And I'm watching the time. If it's okay, I know we started a little late so everyone could come in. So I'm just, is it okay if we just go a little extra, like about 10 minutes to make up for that time, perhaps 10, 15 minutes? Yeah? Okay, great. So we're going to go very quickly into polls and breakout rooms because I think you're familiar with the chat as clearly as you're doing now. And we already did accessing recordings. So it's really just polls and breakout rooms to do. All right. I'm not sure if I showed you how to record a session, but the recording of a session is just at the top left of the session you would see, for those of you who are moderators, you would see an icon on the top left, a menu on the top left side. All right, and I'll make more persons moderators. When you click on that menu, when you click on that menu, I'm trying to make, oh, I think someone made me a presenter. Is that what I'm seeing here? No, that's not so. All right, good. So let me just make a couple persons. Anne-Marie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I think someone accidentally took off the PowerPoint. All right, so moving along very quickly. Just let me make sure we're back on track so we can move. Okay, let me just, so try not to take off the PowerPoint, so at least we could keep on track and move along fairly quickly. All right, so what we're gonna do now, let's get back on track. I think I was talking about the recording of a session. Well, I don't think you know how to do this, so I wouldn't ask you to do it. Let's say, let me see, Roderick, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm here.
Great. So are you seeing at the top left side 3 lines? Everyone should see it actually, 3 lines. And when I say everyone in this session should see a little on the top left side. You should see 3 lines.
Yes, I'm seeing them.
Right. And when you click on those 3 lines, it opens another menu. Correct?
Yeah. Blackboard Collaborate or something?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, if you wanted to leave the session formally, then you would see leave session at the very end of the bottom of that menu. If you wanted to stop the recording, and don't stop it, because this is one of the disadvantages or weaknesses of Blackboard. You can't pause a recording. You would only be able to stop it. You can't pause a recording. All right. And if you stop the recording, it saves us 2 separate recordings as opposed to 1 whole recording.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to highlight that. So yeah, that's basically it, Roderick. So I just wanted now not everyone will see it. Some of you might be, if you're a participant, you wouldn't see stop recording, but it's the same place you're gonna go. When you click on that menu on the top left side, you're just gonna see stop recording as the top of that menu, along with Blackboard Collaborate Help and Report an Issue and Privacy Policy and Leave Session and so on. All right, just so everyone is able to see that. Was everyone able to see that menu on the top left side? Okay, great. Great. Right, perfect. So, nicely. So what we're gonna move on to very quickly would be let me just get back to this, engaging in a BBC session. Now there are different ways you can engage in a Blackboard session. You have elements within Blackboard, and you have elements that you could pull externally into, well, not into Blackboard, but you can use through sharing your screen and links and all these different things. So I'll go straight into breakout rooms. Now breakout rooms would be, they're most effectively used if you want students to do some collaborative work. All right, let's say you gave them a particular activity or instructions to follow, an instruction, and then you want to break them up into groups to do those, to follow through on those instructions. Now, to do that, I think I have it here. Yeah, so you would go to the same menu, like if you were adding a document or if you were going to chat, or if you were going to see who else is in the classroom in the session, and you would click that middle icon. It's usually one with the arrowhead on it, as you see in the graphic here, and then you're going to click breakout rooms or breakout groups, sorry. You click breakout groups, and it's going to take you to a page, very simple, where you would assign groups. Now in this particular graphic here, it was only one person in this group, as we see. Now in a case where it's like this, and I'll demonstrate in just a bit, you can assign them randomly, or you can assign them, you can customize the groups, all right? And you would see this little thing here where you can allow persons to switch between groups, which usually you probably wouldn't want, because when you put a group together, you want to make sure they stay in that group, all right, and follow through on the tasks. All right, so I'm going to do a quick thing. I'm going to guide one of the moderators to do it. So I only need one person to do this. So who's that lucky person? You could just raise your hand. First person to raise your hand, you do it. Wow, nobody wants to. I'll guide you through it, and I'll tell you where to go. It's just I need a candidate. Okay, Charlene, good. So Charlene, what I need you to do, you would see, let me pull this slide, the PowerPoint, so you'll see exactly what you need to see. So you click on breakout rooms and breakout groups. Well, first things first, you click on the middle icon with the arrowhead on it at the bottom of the bottom right side of the page. And are you seeing this menu with the breakout groups? Right. So when you get to that point, so click on breakout groups, and it should take you to a menu that looks something like this. I mean, you have more persons now, but it looks something like this. Tell us what you see. Do you have a microphone? Could you tell us what you see, or? Okay, audio is off. Okay. You should see assign groups. Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll follow. So you should see assign groups, or I'll narrate it for you. You see assign groups, and you would see randomly assign, right? Now, guys, if you want to do it a customized or customizable assignment, then I would recommend, I think that's when you really need an assistant with you or a colleague to do it with you, because you don't want to stop and take 10 minutes to prepare your group and the class time is going, right? So you can leave it as randomly assigned for now. You can tick include moderators in group assignment, please, Charlene. All right. Okay, great. And I want you to, let's see, number of groups. Right now it's set to 2 groups of 9 attendees. All right. And I think it's saying 9 because it's not counting everybody, but I want you, Charlie, now to switch that to, oh, yours says 21. Okay, okay, cool. I think mine was just because I've been on that page for so long. So so you're seeing 2 groups of 21 attendees, yeah? Great. I want you to switch that. Let's make it, anyone is good at math here? So what can be a very even or smaller number? What, 42 divided by, would I say, let's say create 5 groups for now. I know it's not going to be an even thing. So number of groups, you can put 5. Okay, 6 groups of 7. There we go. Thank you so much. I was close. 6 groups of 7. So Charlene, you could put 6, number of groups 6. And then, right, and now you don't want attendees to switch groups. Normally this is what you would click that, but you could leave it unticked for now. All right, now let's say, Charlene, you weren't too happy with the random assignment. You might want to shuffle the attendees that, make it a little more random, So for example, you might see Vishnu and Anne-Marie in the same group, but you don't want them to be in the same group. So you click on that shuffle attendees button, and you would notice it switched, right? It switched around a bit, correct? You would notice the names in each group is not the same whenever you click shuffle attendees. Right, the names in each group. So let's say Anne-Marie was in group 1. Yeah, she would no longer be in group 1. She might switch it. She might be moved to a different group. Okay, welcome back to the line. That's all right, Charlene, but they got the gist of it, right? That's okay. That's okay. No problem at all. All right. And that's what breakout rooms look like. Now, in each breakout group or breakout room, you have a chat that is specific to that group. You also have a whiteboard that is specific to that group, right? So if you were to give students group work to do, that is the way in a synchronous environment, that is the way you will go about it. So let me just recap this process as I have the PowerPoint here. All right. And then we'll go into polls very quickly. Well, you kind of saw what the polls look like at the beginning of this session, but I'll just show you how to create it. So click on, so I kind of highlighted this already. Then you click on start, and then you will be placed in the main break. You as a moderator normally would be in the main breakout, the main room, sorry. And the moderators can float through different groups to supervise what students are doing in the breakout rooms. Yeah? Does that make sense? Any questions?
No.
Okay, great. Is there a way to save the groups so you can break them? In a case like that, good question, Keisha. In a case like that, you would need to customize the groups, right? But you wouldn't be able to, you can save it through myeLearning. So if you want to keep them in groups for the entire semester, you can do it through myeLearning, right? But not through Blackboard, unless you customize it every time you create a group. Good question, Indira. You can share screen in any format. If you're sharing a screen, you can show anything on your screen. If you are sharing a document, such as a PowerPoint or whatnot, then it can be only in those 3 documents. Now, I'm not sure if I went through how to share. Did I do that? How to share a document? Right, Charlene. So we're going to go into groups one more time. And I like that these questions keep coming. So we're going to go into groups one more time. And I want the moderators to practice navigating from one group to the next. Now, to do that, you have to pay attention to the right part, the floating menu on the right side. All right. So we'll do it, and I'll just do it very quickly. Let's say, Charlene, could you make groups of 2? Make 2 groups, please. 2 breakout rooms. Right, and click start. Now, we have 2 groups. So click start, and I'll go into both groups and explain to you how to do it. All right. Okay, so it's as simple. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right, so it's as simple as that, guys. It's just a matter of opening the breakout rooms menu and dragging your name from one group to the next. So the final thing, just as we wrap up, would be polls. Now, to add a poll, it's very simple. You click on the middle icon. Once again, it's the same icon, right, with the arrowhead, and then you click on polling, right, as you see on the left graphic here. Then you're going to go on the right graphic. You're going to go, when you click on polling, it'll take you to what looks very much something like what's on the left side, on the right side here. And you're going to select whether it's a multiple choice or a yes or no choice poll, right? Hopefully someone is following the instructions and creating a poll as we speak. Yeah. And you're going to insert your question in the space provided, as we see on the left side here. So let's say, if this is such, right, good. Somebody, right, created it. And then you just, click the necessary response. And I think you saw the poll, what the poll is like earlier at the very beginning of this session. All right. Now, when you want the voting to stop and you want to show results, could somebody click on show responses? Anyone who is seeing it? Good. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Click on it. Good. And so we see 15 persons well, out of the 15 persons who voted, out of 22 persons, 15 persons said yes. Right? And could someone stop sharing the poll? It's just to click on that square, that circle icon with a very good a square in the middle. Good. And that's basically how you create a poll. Yes, Richard? Go ahead.
That was an error. Sorry about that.
No problem. All right. Any questions on that, guys?
Yeah, does it only allow you to do yes or no?
It allows you to do multiple choice as well.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you click on multiple choice, you'll see it there. You'll get 3. As you see here, somebody did 3 choices, and you can do that. But guys, one thing before we leave, when you do a poll, as soon as you leave the screen or go to another page or menu or whatnot, you're gonna lose that poll. Yes, you could only do it during the session, basically, right? So what I recommend you do is have your poll, your question, and maybe the options in a soft copy of your whatever document, whether it's a PowerPoint or a Word document or whatnot. You copy and paste that poll, the question or the stem, or the prompt, sorry, from your Word document or your PowerPoint, and you paste it into the poll. Yeah? It's similar to what I did at the very beginning of this session, where I had my question at the top of this session. Let me just scroll very quickly to get it. The second slide, I think it was this. So all I did was copy and paste into the poll. So even if I, switch the page accidentally, at least I know it's there. It's kind of like a backup, but it's also a way to enable the poll a little more quickly. All right. So these are just different ways that you can use Blackboard Collaborate to make it a little more engaging. In addition to polls, in addition to breakout rooms, in addition to annotations, in addition to switching privileges in a particular session, that being between moderator and presenter. These are some other platforms that you can integrate by sharing the screen or even sharing a link. Yeah? Can we time the student for multiple? It used to have a timer. I was saying earlier, it used to have a timer in Dura, but they removed the timer they removed that feature to make Blackboard a little more efficient, given the increased use and traffic on it. But there used to be like a sort of countdown, yeah, and they took it out just a couple months ago. Great. So what I would recommend is that you kind of have your stopwatch on your end as a workaround. All right. Any questions on anything we looked at this evening, guys? Are we good?
Yeah, pretty comprehensive, yes.
Okay, great. Yes, Keisha, there is a way to pull the attendance. Let me show you in 3 seconds. I'll just demonstrate it on the screen. You wouldn't have to do anything. All right. Let's say this is the page, and this one, I'm just gonna do this for now, but so, oh no, I don't have a recording in this one. Let me go to a page that I have a recording, okay? So we go to, one sec. So let's say I'm going into, oh, yes, you can access the recording. I think someone asked that as well. I'll send the link and so on, and you'll get the link to the recording. All right. So very quickly before we go, so let's say this is what I have here. If I wanted to, so I go to the recordings, and this is for Henry. I think he missed it earlier. I have my recordings there. All right. And if I wanted to see the get the analytics on the participation, I can easily do so. First of all, let me just recordings. No, it went to sessions. So let's say I want to set recent recordings. I want all recordings. And let's see from here, right? So if I wanted my recordings, I would simply, normally you would see it right at the, no problem at all. You would go somewhere here and you would see, so here we have it. Watch now, download, recording settings, add caption, and you would even see usually you would go here for the attendance to see who attended. Yeah, I don't think it was set to record the attendance, but it's here. Yeah. So I don't want to take too much of your time with regard to this part, but you would go to the recording section and see who actually attended your Blackboard recording or session. So, and then I have a document on it, so it'll guide you through the entire process. Okay? I believe so, but I'll have to verify. Yeah? And I'll send you that document as well to check up on it, to walk you through that process. I have a PDF that will walk you through that process as well. No problem at all. So guys, look out for the evaluation on this particular session. All right. You know, so we can find ways of improving and so on. Oh, you got it already. Good. And again, keep your sessions collaborative, practical, fun. This is a new time, you know, dispensation, and it doesn't mean that it's very dampening and dreary, but it's just an opportunity to be a little more innovative. I see we're still being innovative with shapes on the slides, but that's okay. All right, so you guys are most welcome. Feel free to shoot me an email if you need any support or you have any questions, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you for that border, by the way. Keisha, you're most welcome. Christy, you're most welcome. You're welcome, Indira and Charlene. So of course I'm here for you. So you just send me an email if you need a recap, if you need some documentation on it. We have some support documents. I think you would have gotten some of them earlier this week via an email with the dates for your diary in addition to resources. Yeah. Well, you know how it is. I'm used to it. All right. So have a great evening, guys. And I look forward to hearing from you. Okay.